All right. Hello, everybody. Uh, last we left off, we talked about local blocks and global blocks, and to talk a little bit more about blocks that kind of come canned with AutoCAD. Um, we're going to open up a brand new file here. So I'm just going to hit the plus sign. Otherwise, you can go to the start menu and you can say new and open up the ACAD template if you don't have anything created. I'm going to open up my inches template. But basically, in order to use stored blocks that are built into the library of AutoCAD, we're going to use the Design Center. And the Design Center, the easiest way to get to the Design Center is by holding down the Control key on your keyboard and the number 2. So Control 2 opens up the Design Center, and you should get this to pop up. And let's bring it to what you guys would see. You guys would see this. Um, so you guys would see this as far as the Design Center is concerned. You have the Design Center here. You have dynamic blocks. This is basically your preview set, preview window, and then you have your navigation tree on the left. So I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit here. Let's get to that corner. There we are. And then I'm going to hover over this little spine, left click and drag it over. So the Design Center is buried in the system tools of AutoCAD and the Autodesk folder. And you can go all the way up here. You can see it's in the AutoCAD folder under Autodesk. But basically, you have access to your entire computer through this navigation tree. And the thing is, you want to make sure that you understand if you click on Design Center just once, then down at the very bottom, you have the file path. In case you get lost, you can always find this again by learning this file path, or you can go up here to the tabs and you can turn off the description panel. You can turn on and off the little preview panel, as well as the tree toggle. And you can always go back to home, and home will kind of take you to uh, back to this section where we have sample, and I want to make sure that I'm in ENUS. And if I expand that, then I see my Design Center. So it'll take you back to that particular spot. And okay, let's open up the Design Center. So I'm going to click on the plus sign for the Design Center. This is the library. So we have basic electronics, CMOS integrated circuits, electrical power, fasteners, home space planner, house designer, kitchens, right? So taking a look at kitchens, I'm going to click on it once, and I can expand it here on the side, or I can just start using this little preview panel. So I'm going to double click on blocks, and it gives me a block of, there's a base cabinet, there's the side view of a base cabinet, a dishwasher, different kinds of blocks that you can use. Ice and water machine, I guess, a kitchen layout, light switches, microwaves, different things. I can do the same thing with the home space planner. So I'm going to left click to select it. Then I'm going to go to blocks and double left click. And we've got a bed, a desk chair, a telephone, a computer terminal, a copy machine, dining set, exercise bike, all these things. What I will say is that make sure that you click on. I know sometimes there's a lot of blocks to click, but make sure you click on these because the preview is not always what you get. So especially in the electronics section, sometimes you'll have missing information. Like for instance, the capacitor. Just looking at the capacitor, it looks one way, but if I click on it, you can actually see that there is a curve on one side of the capacitor icon. So just simple little things like that. Make sure that you're understanding exactly what you're looking at. Click through and check out the preview. So I'm going to go back to my home blocks, the space planning blocks. And there's two ways that I can pull these into my drawing. One is to select it, right? And then I'm going to left click, hold down, and drag and let go. And of course, this panel is now in my way. I'm going to move it off to the side a little bit here, but basically I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel and I've got a bed, right? And maybe I want a desk chair, so I'm going to left click to select it and let go. And then I'm going to left click and hold, drag, and I've got a chair. The other way that you can enter blocks into a drawing is by double left clicking. So if I double left click that chair, double left click, I get an insert window and it tells me the name of the block. I can specify an insertion point if I have very specific XYZ coordinates. I can scale right on the spot. I can rotate it on the spot, or I can just enter it by hitting OK. So before we enter it, let's click on the angle, and I'm going to say, let's do minus 90 degrees. All right, so minus 90 degrees, I hit OK. And as I bring it in, it's rotated minus 90 degrees or counterclockwise. And it's all set to go. So maybe a little shortcut, maybe not, right? So double click, I've got the plant, and maybe I want to enlarge the scale of the plant. I can enlarge it on screen, or I can say here, you know what, let's go uniform scale and give me twice the size and hit OK. So now I've got a giant plant, twice the size of its original, scaled and ready to go. And these are blocks, right? These are blocks. If I don't like what I see, I can always double left click, get into the block editor, hit OK. I'm going to hide this for a second. And I can make changes as necessary to the block, just like we did with the static blocks and the global blocks. But I'm not going to make any changes to it. So if I would make changes, I would explode it and save it as a brand new block so that I'm not messing with the blocks that are in the design center. Okay. So just something to be aware there now. Okay. So we've got our blocks. And now what I want to do is I want to introduce the tool palette, and that's going to be another control shortcut. So I'm going to hit control and the number 3. All right. Control 3 brings out this tool palette. And this is something that I did from a previous class, but essentially you have these tabs on the side that have additional tools at your disposal, almost like a library. And if I go over here to the title bar and I right click on the title bar, I can see all the different things that are palettes that I have to my disposal. So I have a civil palette. So if I wanted, road sections or different things like that, I can go there. If I have structural, I have a couple beams and a couple of other graphical elements. What else? Architecture. So architectural elements. Now you guys might notice these little lightning bolts. That lightning bolt signifies a dynamic block. All right. And what that means is that it does something. And for each one of these, they each do something a little bit different. For instance, the stud, I'm going to drag out that stud and left click to place it. And that stud looks like the end section of a 2x4 stud, but I'm going to left click to select it. And you'll notice that it has a couple of grips. So it's got the triangle grip up here, another triangle grip here, and it's got triangles on the side and below it. They each have slightly different purposes, but basically do the same thing, meaning the side grip here, the triangle, I click on that and I can change this from a 2x4 to a 2x6 or to a 2x8. And it's all programmed in there. And basically this little grip arrow is associated with it. So I can click on that and you'll notice that I have these little tick marks. I don't know if you can see them right above my cursor, but those are incremental tick marks to basically create 2x6s, 2x8s, 2x10s, and whatnot. On the other side, I'm going to left click on this arrow, and hopefully you can see the little tick marks across the bottom. Basically, I'm doubling, tripling, or quadrupling my, what are these, 2x10s. So I've quadrupled my 2x10s, or maybe I just hit the arrow and say, let me double it up. So that's a dynamic block. That's one example of what it does. Everyone loves the vehicle, so I'm going to zoom out because it's obviously the life-size version of a vehicle. So click on vehicle and left click, and we've got a sports car. And if I select it once, okay, I have an insertion grip so I can move it around. And I also have the little drop down arrow. And basically it'll show me the top side or the top view of that car. And if I go one more, it'll have the front view of that car. So this particular block has multiple views associated with it. Not only multiple views, but also multiple vehicles. So I can have a sedan. There's a side view. Or I can have a truck, side view. So you have a couple different cars to utilize. So having things pre-programmed in a dynamic manner really does make things a lot easier. And you can program these things in your library, and we'll do another video about that in a little bit. But so tool palettes is a great way to be able to just have everything right at your side, at your drawing side, I guess. Question is, how do we get elements um, into our tool palette? Well, the easiest thing to do is to open up your design center. And let's see, what haven't we messed around with yet? Actually, I haven't put any kitchens in or landscaping. We haven't done anything with landscaping. So in your design center, Control 2, right, to open this up, I'm going to go to landscaping. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say create tool palette. And when I left click to create the tool palette, you'll notice that now we have a landscaping section. And this is everything to do with landscaping, at least as far as the blocks are concerned. So I can pull out an evergreen tree, pull out another one, and have different versions of that. These are not dynamic, so I don't see any lightning bolts. So these are not dynamic at all. These are just static blocks. And I can create a quick little scene. All right, one last bit with these blocks is you can also throw in blocks into whatever library list that you have, okay? But before we get there, I want to show you in the design center what this landscaping, because all it is a drawing, if you notice, right? Landscaping is a drawing. The house or the home space planner is a drawing. These are all just drawings. So if I go to my, actually, let's do this. Let's go to open. And let's do it again, open files. And I want to go up into my C drive, program files. I want to find Autodesk and AutoCAD and sample. I'm looking for sample. And there's sample, ENUS, design center. And let's open up the landscaping. Landscaping, hit open. It's saying it's read only because of where it's located. And this is what the drawing is. This is the landscaping drawing. It's currently locked. Whoops. But essentially, you have everything laid out in this drawing. And if we take a look, we zoom in a little bit, and I hover over one of these elements, it's a block reference. Okay, so the pool, block reference. The tree, block reference. Palm tree, block reference. So if you want to create your own library and then have it easily accessible in the tool palette, what I would say is to create a drawing, start a new drawing, and either local using local or global blocks, start throwing some blocks in or drawing whatever it is you want to draw, save it as a block. Draw whatever you need to draw, save it as a block. Draw what you got to draw, save it as a block. Save the whole drawing. And then you have to go through Design Center. All right. You'll have to find the file through the Design Center. You can right click and say create tool palette, and it'll dump everything into your tool palette. All right. So it's that easy. So hopefully you learned something about the Design Center and the tool palette. Really easy to do. Oh, one last thing before I go. I forgot to mention this. If I wanted to create a new palette just kind of off the cuff, right, I can right click on any one of these little palettes and say new palette. All right, I can give it a name. I'm just going to say my stuff. I know it's not very technical, but I've got a my stuff palette. And the only caveat here is that the file needs to be saved. All right, so I've got my drawing 5 here. And if you remember from an original video, we've got a block reference. Well, let's see if we can do it with the landscaping, actually. Let's see if we can do it because that's already saved and I'm not allowed to touch it really. So let's see if we can get this patio paver, highlight it, grab it, and drag it in. No, because it's locked. All right. Basically what we have to do is you have to create a drawing. And here's a drawing filled with blocks. You have to save the drawing. So I'm just going to do a quick save. And I'm in my Design Center, so I want to go to my documents, back into my classes, into my class. And I'm just going to save this as a my stuff. All right, so now I've got a my stuff. I'm going to take that giant plant and I'm going to drag it in. Oh, might be making a liar out of me, maybe because these are locked Design Center blocks. Usually my stuff. Let's save it again. Well, it looks like it might be only with custom blocks. You should be able to drag in. Okay, my apologies. So let me do this. Let me go to my drawing 5, which is from a couple of videos again. I understand that you guys might not have that. But I've got a drawing with blocks that I created. So let's save that. And I'm going to call it my stuff, and I'm going to overwrite what I have. Yes, overwrite it. It'll be replaced. That's fine. All right, so now did I do that right? Yes. No. Drawing 5. Drawing 5. Save. All right, let's call it my stuff 2 to avoid confusion. My stuff 2. There we go. My stuff 2. I'm going to take my block. This should work. Oh, it doesn't like to take it. I'm curious why. It should drop right in there. So I'm hoping that yours is working for you. But this should drop right in there. Oh, that's interesting that it does not want to do it. But with a saved drawing, you should be able to drag that right in there. So I'm not sure why this is not working. I'm going to check it out afterwards, but hopefully you learned a lot. And hopefully I can find a fix for this and I'll update the video on that. All right. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys in a little bit.